Hey, 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 welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for whoever that lands on the zodiac. As I've been doing live videos, I try to do it for, again, anyone that lands on it, not any particular zodiac. However, if you're looking for a specific zodiac, you'll want to go to the pre-recorded section. But I really believe that spiritual energy goes to who needs to hear the message, especially on this channel, because this channel is all about soul healing. It's about shadow healing. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to look and see if you're going to get a job or whether or not a person that you care about is going to come back into your life. I am going to look and see whether or not those things, but I'm going to do it more from looking at your spiritual blocks, because you are spirit having a human experience. So being a spirit, you are part of God. You're part of a whole, meaning we're all connected to each other through love, through sensitivity, through empathy. So it's again through that energy of unconditional love. However, when we have spiritual blocks, we're holding core beliefs about ourselves, and usually looking at ourselves through a perception of feeling limited, not good enough, not being able to acquire something that we desire, which is making us feel bad about ourselves. Again, looking at ourselves from more of a fear-based consciousness than, again, a love-based consciousness. So if you're in a relationship with a person, you would want to know what your shadows are, because you'd want to know what your triggers are and what your person's triggers are. And then in order to shape shift to reality, you have to, again, change your behaviorisms. You have to change the way that you're dealing with the situation. So a lot of times we feel connected to people. Again, and these people are called part of our soul family. That could be a soul mate, it could be a past life karmic mate, it could be a twin flame, it could just be a soulmate. And a soulmate could be anybody. It's anyone that comes into your life that teaches you. So we're coming from a certain perception, we're coming from a certain level of consciousness. Depending on how many wounds you have, is depending how many shadows you have. And those shadows, again, play out through our behaviorisms. So understanding what's blocking you from manifesting helps you shape shift your reality, so that you can actually quantum jump into the reality that you want to experience. Because there's many different realities that play out at one time, but it's your level of consciousness, and it depends again on how much trauma you again have and whether you have integrated that trauma, because spiritual wounds, when they're integrated, turn into spiritual gifts. They widen our perception about who we are and our situations, which allows us to deal with our situations a lot better. This is why we want to look at, again, if you're connected to a person, we want to see why you're connected to this person. What's the whole point? It's like, and then you want to know what your wounds are, because that'll help you understand why you were born into certain families that you were born into. And then you'll be able to see what your shadows are and, again, how they play out within your behaviorisms. Then we look at the hidden truths, because just because a behaviorism is in alignment with fear does not mean that the person doesn't like you, doesn't care about you, doesn't, it's their level of consciousness is fear. People that have fear, they tend to get in their own way. They tend to sabotage themselves. So healing your shadow allows you to integrate those wounds so you can create the realities that you want. So again, if you're new to the channel, anything that you need to know about the channel, you can find in the description box. And if you resonate, please like, subscribe, and you can write the magic word of the day. The magic word of the day allows you to enter into winning, into getting a free reading with me. Usually I use my shadow deck. I don't know exactly where that is. So let's see. Again, where are you? Oh, it's too many times. All right. We use the Psychic Soul Healer deck, and that allows us to know what the word of the day is going to be. What is the word of the day? Naturalists. So again, if you want to win a reading with me, all you need to do is like, subscribe, write the word naturalist in your comment bar. Now, what does that mean, naturalist? Well, it's when you can be yourself, when you're in the flow of the universe, right? We can feel when we connect with a person and things are good, we feel at ease. When we are stressed out, again, that's how you know you have a block. So the emotion is the gateway to spiritual healing. However, if a person has gone through a lot of trauma, I feel like they're detached. So I'm kind of just feeling automatically before I even start the reading that somebody is attached to somebody that is like detached from their emotions. And this happens again through being taught not to be able to express your emotions, right? So this happens when that happens, we're not able to process information fully. And if we're not able to process information fully, we're coming more from an imbalanced perspective, which is not mainly from a spiritual perspective or from an analytical perspective. It's like I said, it's only one, and when it's supposed to be both, is what I'm trying to say. Imbalance means the person's coming more from an analytical space, they're shut off their heart. So you're connected, has problems expressing them. And that's triggering to you. Triggering mainly because again, a lot of times how we get soulmates that express themselves differently. They don't think the way that we do. Unconditional love is, again, learning how to be connected to someone that you really do feel a passion for and that you do care about, but they trigger you. And finding that balance and realizing that why is this person in my life? Because if you can understand it, then you can, again, look at it from a different perception. Otherwise, there's a sense of just being stuck in our wound, being stuck in how that person made us feel. So again, we look at the past life. What is the connection between you and this person? What is the soul wound that you incarnated into this lifetime with? What is it? Vows. So I'm feeling like, again, a vow is a promise. So it overrides what we want a lot of times. So I'm feeling like maybe you were connected to someone that was connected to someone else. And I hate these stories, but we have to just say if a person's detached emotionally and they look at you as passion and they feel a soul connection because it's a past life relationship, there's a soul recognition. Again, that person feels like home, but then they're not treating you the way that they should. And you're like, well, why? So I feel like they're connected to someone else. They've made, again, a vow to someone else. And for some of you, if you select that, I just felt this, that some of them like might be good friends with someone that at one time either dated you, cared about you, wants to be with you. So again, the vow is a promise, and that promise is that you don't really, again, want to be. Now we look at, again, mother. So there's a mother figure. So this tells us that you're connected to someone that is a baby mama or a baby father. Again, there's somebody that's taking care of your child, someone that's connected to you because you have a child with them. So, and that would explain a vow. So in a past life, you had a love affair with someone that emotionally really couldn't be there for you. So this person does feel like home. So you incarnated into this lifetime with the wound of abandonment. And again, if we're connected to someone that can't emotionally give us because they're with someone else, then we have to look at that wound within inside of us that says, why would I want to be connected to someone that can't give me anything? So we look to the child wounds, the inner child wounds for that. Again, sing. So being able to express yourself, being able to, again, creativity. One's creativity is their unique individuality. Again, that second chakra represents individuality, going with the flow, your identity, being able to express oneself, being able to create one's world through their voice. It's again that throat chakra. So when we can express ourselves, then again, what winds up happening is that we're not really able to fully, sometimes we're not able to even fully understand our emotions. And if we're taught that what we're feeling is bad, then especially when it comes to vulnerability, then you can understand why your person would have a wound of detachment, why they wouldn't, why they would have problems with intimacy. And so understand spiritual blocks within intimacy come out within the behaviorism of trust. So there's, again, all because you inherited someone else's belief system. So again, being conditioned in a certain environment, when we grow up in it, in that environment, we inherit what's happening in the world collectively, and we inherit our family karma. So unconsciously, it's through certain things. So let's just say every time we spoke about how we truly felt, we got a look from parents. Again, in certain environments, we weren't free to express ourselves in certain environments. So we were taught that it was better to not be that deep, to live our lives more from a left brain perspective, which is, I live by certain rules, by certain laws. So either you're connected to someone through a vow, or you're connected to someone that's connected to certain belief systems that may not be in alignment with you. And love was not seen as a priority. Love was seen more as a necessity, and a lot of pain around love. And that's if we grew up in an environment that was imbalanced, that we saw our parents struggle in their relationships, but stayed together because of a vow. So we're taught that people just live like in loveless marriages. They stay together for money. They stay together because logically that's what makes sense. Don't express yourself about how you feel. So over time, people become detached. So if you're dealing with someone that's not showing you emotions, so we look at the wound. Again, play. But you symbolize play. And you symbolize, again, happiness. Because when we are connected to someone through love, again, that soul recognition, and it's through love, there's a playful and passion that is mixed together, right? When you like someone and it's new, the butterflies happen in your stomach. You're excited to see them. You wake up every morning with a certain different pep in your step. So I think just the thought of you is that, and it's such different energy from this person's energy, that you bring out what's missing in their life. So there's also a lot of pain, and pain because they've had to suppress who they are. Again, the identity. When we live by certain vows, certain laws, certain rules, we're not able to really become who we are. It stagnates us because we're too worried. We're going to disappoint someone. So then what happens is we get into environments where we feel and see that other people live freely, and it shows us a different perception of how life can be. So again, that can be also seen as play because it's seen as excitement for this person. So remember, soulmates come into each other's lives to teach. So, but I feel like you being connected to someone that emotionally can't give to you, that everything you would always feel that your word wasn't really important, that they didn't really care as much as they did, because it's almost been wired into this person on how they should be and their love, how they have received love from their family, from their friends, from people through. I feel like your person is someone that's very connected to, whether they have a big business, whether they're connected to the community. So they care a lot about their image. They want to be seen as a certain way. And that's also connected to the vows, right? Connected to rules, structures. We all grow up into family dynamics that teach us how to be a certain way. So it takes courage to step outside the box. I feel like you stepped outside the box, and that's why you're seen as playful and exciting, and but it awakens again what's missing in this person. So again, knowledge, wisdom. It's almost like that's what you bring to the table, a knowledge and a wisdom, a spiritual knowledge and wisdom, and the connection that you and this person have, because you're totally different. So when they say opposites attract, I don't believe that opposites all the time attract, but I do believe that twin flame soulmates are opposite. There's a paradox, and this is why they can be the most difficult type of relationship, because it pulls every single wound out of you to make you look at what's blocking you from this unconditional love. And when we're not in a space of unconditional love, we can't manifest the life that we want to manifest for ourselves. This person looks at you and looks like your life is so fun and that you live so much different from them. And really, again, there's knowledge in that because you're teaching. And what a lot of times that's what life is, right? We think that we know something because we see it from a certain perception, only to leave it to come back to the same situation to see it differently, so that we can get a more rounded um, knowing of what it is that we're dealing with, because everything's how you perceive. And there's many different ways a situation plays out. It depends on your level of consciousness, is what your perception will be. Being able to quantum jump, again, is to jump into the reality, but you can't do that without this deep inner wisdom and knowing. And I feel like your person knows on a deep soul level that they're supposed to be with you. So that this relationship doesn't make sense to them, but they know that it's important. So when I say, like, I feel like when we look at a a twin flame soulmate, the reason why these people come into our life is to show us where our wounds are. So it's not that they're your other half of your soul, it's that you are a full soul, have a full soul. However, your shadows, your blocks are parts of you that you've detached from because you haven't figured out how to make those areas of your life work. Your soulmate twin flame comes into your life to teach you the connection with a soulmate twin flame. The biggest and highest calling is for them to do, to realize that there is a higher calling to life. And that's so that they step into their best self, their true self. They strive for that. And the passion and the love of the connection is really what helps transcend the mind. So I'm feeling like this is a soulmate twin flame relationship. However, your person has not gone through a dark night of the soul, but they're going to, because they're not happy the way that they live. This is what that's saying, because there's what they are in this lifetime, they have to break this. They have to break the vows, because the vows are not, they are vows. They're belief systems that of their parents, of their environment, but it's not what they want. So they have to actually have an ego death in order for them to transcend. But that's happening. And it's happening because this is knowledge, this is wisdom, and it's of a higher self. And we all go through this, by the way. But unfortunately, we have to go through a dark night of the soul first. And that dark night of the soul is really the tower moments of where things aren't working in our life. What doesn't really belong to us? And your person's going through that. So they are detached from you. It's like they're looking at their life. And I do believe that they look at your life as like, you live so different from me. You live a better life than me. And that might not even be true. It's their perception from, and remember, if I'm looking at you peering from afar because I'm not in your life, but I want to be in your life. So I'm looking at social media and I'm looking at things, I'm imagining that's not really who you are. That's who they perceive that you are, because this person isn't living their true happiness. They're connected to vows that don't work for them. And that could just be, I can't date while I'm in this relationship, or I can't date while I'm connected to this person, or have children, or live in this environment. For everybody, it's going to be different. But it's, again, everyone has a belief system, and that belief system is a vow. But a lot of times we realize that they're not really ours, what we want. So we wouldn't change. We wouldn't change that environment, what gives us comfort, until we become so painful, have a lot of pain. And so, again, the ego death allows that. And what does that? Unconditional love. So when you trigger the shit out of a person and vice versa, and you still care about them, you're like, why do I still care about this person? It's because you can't control it. So really, what transcends vows and rules and family structures is, that passion, that unconditional love. So, and it brings us to realizing that there's a higher purpose in life, because obviously spirit wouldn't make a situation unfold that makes us change and break away from our family and create awareness and make us go through tower moments and painful moments to see different perceptions. So then all of a sudden we want different ways of living. That wouldn't happen unless there was a higher spiritual point. So with soulmate and twin flames, they come together to do something, to create something, because through the actual doing and creating, they they have to master the wounds. They have to integrate their wounds, and they can do so through unconditional love, through the fact that the person that they're connected to has those gifts, will teach them with patience. Love is patient, love is kind, and all the things that it says in the Bible through Corinthians, that love doesn't hold the score. How many times we're connected to someone and we get so angry because that person triggers us. And there's nothing like a soulmate twin flame relationship that triggers the shit out of us. And but really it triggers us to awaken those parts of ourselves that we've detached from. And that's the person knows that you're supposed to be in their life and vice versa. Even if there's a part of you that's like, I really wish I wasn't connected to this person. And that's the whole point. It's like you can't control. There's the illusion that you can control love. There's an illusion. Okay, so let's look at their shadow. Dark moods. So again, this person has a lot of depression and anxiety. of changing their life, but then also of losing you. So they're in this state, this like paradox state of wanting to stay and being comfortable and knowing that they can stay in the environment and keep living the way that they're living, or they can take a chance. But I do believe that you guys have been in separation for some time. And because they're living more detached, it's creating a lot of dark moods, right? Again, when you suppress your emotions and you don't know what's going on and you begin to get paranoid because there isn't any communication and they expected you to communicate to them, I'm feeling, because they can't communicate to you. And also, part is the ego, then it does create dark moods, right? Emotional. You get emotional. And vicious cycle of your fear really is to be stuck with a person in the same vicious cycle, and they're stuck in a vicious cycle because they refuse to change. But there is a sense again of this connection of knowing that there's unconditional love, and that's when you have a soulmate twin flame that you are connected to, that you can't control. The person does trigger you. It stirs up so much emotion, but you do care, and you know that the relationship is meant to be. There's a sense of peace, and that's also how you know that it's real unconditional love, because it's like you can control it, and there is a sense of, I know you're supposed to be in my life, so maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually you will come back around. And there's this comfortability. Now, I believe if you get in your logical mind and this person gets into their logical mind, they would create a lot of dark moods, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anger, a lot of, be triggered because they're not acting the way that you want them to act. They're not doing what you want them to do, and vice versa. So, again, growing up in certain environments that taught us to be a certain way, it meant that we were brought up by very controlling, nervous people. And it doesn't mean that they were bad. What it meant was they thought that their beliefs and what they knew were protecting us. However, those were not our beliefs. And so everybody has to go out and find their own. And that a lot of times there's tower moments, like I said. So through all the craziness, if love can withstand, it only gets stronger. And I think in this particular story, that soulmate twin flames are transcending, and they're transcending through being able to see that they can't control love, that love doesn't just get destroyed. That's the only energy that doesn't get destroyed. But the whole point is for them to look and to see the healing that they need inside of themselves. A soulmate twin flame does that. It pulls out our wounds, makes us look at them, it makes us change. And you're getting a person that is a master in that particular area. That's why they say fire and ice, opposites, learning to balance, because God is not male, not female. It is male and female, and that means all the male traits, all the female traits, all the male and female characteristics that are considered divine are what both parties need to master in order to become whole. The shadow is where, again, we're blocked in a certain area. So some people tend to be more yin, and other people tend to be more yang. It's not one or the other. It's that to create balance, we have to be able to think more from that, because really our spirit is just a consciousness. When you're spiritually blocked, it means that you're blocked in a level of consciousness that limits you, that separates you, that makes you detach and disassociate. So we wouldn't volunteer to go into experiences that block us unless we had a twin flame. And so unless we had, again, this unconditional, passionate love, crazy love, it's fierce love, it is fire and ice. But understand it, when it's in balance, it creates a lot of dark moods because it's bringing out all our wounds, all our insecurities, all our fears, because we don't really want to lose that person that we're connected to either. But the ego definitely gets in the way. So I hid who I really am from you. And so again, this person pretends to be like in full control of over their life. And I feel that they can do that because of the people that stand behind them. And those people are could be family, could be people again within their work, it could be again past relationships, whatever it is, it's those belief systems. And so, from a logical standpoint, life has worked. They've just been disconnected from the real passions of life. And so, they've never really gone that deep. And so, that's because, so when they say that they hid who they really are from you, they're not really as exciting. They're not really as strong. We come from the mask part of ourself. And the mask part of ourselves is part of ourselves that we created because of not really knowing who we are and of just adapting to other people's structures. And that's really what happened within this relationship. So, and in order to stay that way, I feel like they disconnect through, again, drinking or doing drugs or doing things to disconnect. You know, when we have to suppress who we are, that's when we actually have addictions. When we, again, have to mesh to other people's rules, to other people's systems. And there's a sense that when we try to be our own selves, we're told we shouldn't be. And there's this essence of not liking who we are because when we're really doing us, we're getting bad vibes from the people that are supposed to love us, the people that have created that support in this story. So this person, in order to live in alignment to these laws and these rules, it's like they have to again rely on outside things. So they, in order to integrate, you always have to see what you're grabbing outside of you to heal. So if the person is an addict, they are again disassociating, they're detaching. So detaching from themselves. And so they don't like who they are, but they don't know who they are. They again just know that they can't live the life that other people are making for them. And again, it could be family, it could be them being bound to a certain like relationship or a certain family or tribe, whatever it is, religious vows are that. It's that I've taken a vow. And so a vow that I've taken 20 years ago, I might not really feel in alignment with that, or vows that I was taught to inherit, I might not really believe in the same things. So it means that we have to find who we are. But in doing so, there's always a tower moment because you have to make room for what is new to come in to life. And I believe that your person, you again have awakened that. So, storyteller, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. So, again, through you're very intuitive. And this person is very logical and analytical. And I believe, again, that you just are a soulmate that came into this person's life to teach this person how to be, how they can experience life, how they could actually be happy in their own life. Because I think, again, they how they grew up was just very structured and regimented, and a lot of rules, not their rules. And in order to be accepted and loved, they love their family. They want to do the right thing. So they adapt. And everybody does that. But we all have to, like, eventually choose our own way. And sometimes, again, that is going up against the grain, especially nowadays. Like, how we think today is not how our great grandparents thought. The environment's different. So this is a story of changing, your person really changing. And or it could be you really changing and awakening to, like, your true self. And so what allows us to do that is someone comes into our life. They show us. And it's one that we don't really have, control over whether we like them or not. Someone that, if anything, they trigger us. Someone that we would never choose for ourselves. Someone that is actually complete opposite. So again, this soul relationship. However, your person, like I said, needs to go through their tower moment. And so they're trying to avoid it through the addictions. However, there is a sense of knowing that eventually they're going to get through whatever they're going through to make these changes in their life, and that you'll be together again because they feel that soul connection, that the divine will take care of it. And I know that that might sound ridiculous when you say, well, the person's not doing anything. Well, again, a past life soulmate connection, there is such a deep, 3D connection. There's a familiarity, there's a comfort. And it's supposed to be because, again, love is kind, love is patient, love is, like you said, the person feels like home. You feel like home to them. And it's not explainable. So they're, even though they're not really showing you, which I believe is triggering for you, it's because they're coming more from an analytical standpoint, which is, I feel, the connection. And like I said, it doesn't really make sense, but that's what they feel. So I do believe that they're coming back to you, but after they go through what they go through, and when they come back, they're going to be completely different people. Because you can never go back to the way that you were once you, again, they go through a complete tower moment and uproot everything in your life in order to do so. Because whenever we change, we unfortunately we affect other people in our life that then get mad, and now it, again, people fall out of our life and it makes space for what's new. But it's just because your person was living not from a place of unconditional love. They were trying to please other people. They were trying to abide by family structure. So it's important to realize that that is unconditional love, and that can make us trick us to feeling like we're doing the right thing. However, we're never supposed to not honor what we want. We're down here for a reason, and that's to become ourselves, to really step into our full potential. And whether that's to leave our mark, doing a grand thing or doing something small, but the whole soulmate twin flame relationship is not just about helping us heal and step into our true self, but it's to create something that lasts, business, teaching us, because you learn compromise, you learn balance, you learn patience, you learn forgiveness, you learn all the traits when you're, again, creating. One form of passion is, again, to channel your ideas and your creativity into that. And what better way than with your soulmate twin flame when it's really balanced? When it's really balanced. Otherwise, we wouldn't stick around to learn those lessons a lot of times if we grew up in an environment that there was a lot of trauma. We're stuck in fear. We're stuck in our way of wanting to control. This was a story where two people are connected so deeply and that they can't control however they want to control because they're getting triggered. But at the end of the day, they realize they come to a place of surrender because they're learning, well, either way, like there's a comfort there. I can't help it. I still feel connected to you. So I'm going to leave that there. If you resonated with this, let me know. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.